Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Washington week. The Wolverines are going out to Seattle to play the Washington Huskies. Shout out to Johnny Olden, Purple Rain. The Wolverines are going out to play Purple Rain. So I just wanted to come in and give the prediction for the game and give some thoughts on what to expect on Saturday night. It is a 7:30 kickoff. That means it's going to end around 10:30 at night, assuming it doesn't go to overtime. And so that means a late night post game show. Let me click on the YouTube side to make sure that I can see myself. And once I can, I will start and I will wrap this up. Okay, yep, I am live. There is the live icon. Please smash the like button. Whoever clicks on, no matter how long you stay, please smash that like button and also consider subscribing to the channel if you are not. So I am going to play the intro and then I am going to give some thoughts on Saturday's matchup out in Seattle against the University of Washington Huskies, last year's runner-up in the college football playoff. Go Blue. I'll say it one more time. Go Blue. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Big Discussions 76 Sports. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar. I am the content creator on this channel, and I am the owner. And I am. Let me slow down and pronounce my words. I am a proud Michigan alum, the Department of Pharmacology. Go Blue! And I wanted to come on and give some pre-thoughts to the Wolverines matchup with the Huskies on Saturday night. First of all, let me shout out my channel MVP, Coach Antoine. Coach Antoine says, "What's up, Doc? I totally tuned out of the stupid Michigan fans who don't know anything about football. They are literally becoming Ohio State goofy who don't know nothing about football." Coach Antoine, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're talking about the division in our fan base regarding whether or not Alex Orji should be the starter, or if we should go back to Davis Warren, or as Johnny Olden said on his channel, the Jack Tuttle guys. Or there's another contingency who says, Jaden Davis, come out of your red shirt status, suit up, put Jaden Davis on the field. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, Coach Antoine, but please fill me in there in the chat. Yeah, so our fan base is divided right now over the quarterback position. I think just a brief rehash of this. I'm sure if you're a Michigan fan, you know all of this, but Alex Orji was the favorite in the aftermath of winning the Natty last year, and then Davis Warren showed something. He showed something. Well, certainly in the spring game, he threw that deep ball to who was it? Fred Moore or Kendrick Bell. He threw a nice deep ball to one of those guys. I was one of the guilty guys. I said, "Whoa, did you see that ball from Davis Warren?" And after that, there were some calls for Davis Warren to be the starter, and then Kirk Campbell and Sharon Moore, they saw something. They saw something over the summertime that made them say, okay, Davis Warren should be the starter on day one. And that didn't go well. That didn't age well. The kid threw now he's a major Division I college athlete. I'm not. I'm a Michigan alum working in the federal government. But the kid threw what, 3 picks and 6 to 7 picks in 3 games. And I think regardless of how unhappy you are with how Alex Orji has moved the ball since becoming the starter, I think the big thing for me is that well, with the exception of that 1 pick that he threw in the last game, aside from that, he has been very, very careful with the ball, in addition to posing a run threat for opposing defenses. So that's what Alex Orji brings at this point. He's going to give us some ball security, and he is going to open up running lanes, or he's going to help apply some pressure on the ground and create more opportunities for Khalil Mullings and Donovan Edwards. Though I think, Coach Antoine, please back me up on this, I think all of us think that Khalil should get the majority of the carries now, and Donovan should be strategically moved around, and so that he can get touches from multiple places on the field to confuse the defense and to put the defense at a disadvantage. Maybe sometimes it's lining them both up in the backfield. Maybe at times it's lining Donovan out in the slot. Maybe at times it's lining up Donovan out wide. Okay, maybe it's lining Donovan up in the backfield and running wheel routes with him. The guy is a very good pass catcher. Okay, we've seen that, but Khalil Mullings certainly is the more physical and the more punishing runner. And so far, Khalil Mullings has to be the MVP of our team on the offensive side of the ball, and maybe just in general. So that has to be the plan going forward. Now, in the first half, I thought we saw good things out of Alex Orji. He was clearly ball accuracy and ball placement is something he has to work on. If he had thrown that ball to Colston Loveland out away from the defender, Colston Loveland probably catches that. And Donovan Edwards was open on that side of the field as well, right? So if he just places the ball differently, he's got a strong arm. I mean, we all focused on that duck he threw in the first game when he spelled Davis Warren for a series, but the kid can clearly throw the ball. It's just, there's a difference between throwing it and passing it. He's certainly a better passer than Joe Milton was that year when Joe Milton got the keys. But ball accuracy and ball placement, and then can our offensive line get him some more pass protection? Because if he gets more time to read the field and make good decisions and throw better balls, he's going to be a more effective passer. But that's where we are right now. And I think long story short, he gives us a much better chance of winning these games than Davis Warren does. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, Coach Antoine, you keep letting me know what you think out there. Everybody, please smash that like button no matter how long you stay. If you watch on the playback, please smash that like button. I'm not going to go that long tonight. Okay, let's take a quick look at the top 25. Michigan is coming off of its miraculous 27-24 cliffhanger against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. So the Wolverines have retained the Little Brown Jug in Ann Arbor. And as we will see, the Wolverines are ranked number 10. So I think they dropped in the aftermath of the loss to USC, and then that sputtering against Arkansas State. I think they dropped to number 17 or 18. But right now, the Wolverines have been rewarded. They've been rewarded. This is the CBS. This is the coaches poll. This is the CBS coaches poll, top 25. So the Wolverines were rewarded with that cliffhanger with the number 10 spot in the rankings. Okay, so the big question is, can Michigan retain that number 10 spot this week, or are they going to fall back down into the high teens or maybe into the low 20s? That remains to be seen. Okay, this is a big test. Antoine, let me read your comment here before I keep going. Coach Antoine says, correct me if I'm wrong. They called for Davis Warren, and what did he do, Doc? That's true. That's true. And Coach Antoine, I was one of the guilty parties who was impressed after that long ball he threw at the spring game. So I'm to blame, Coach Antoine. I'm to blame as well. But I wasn't choosing the starter at the beginning of the season. He says 100%, Doc. Okay. Coach Antoine says Michigan needs to adopt the RPO system fully. You see, he opens up the running game just with him being on the field. We need more slants and quick routes. Michigan needs to get out of the long developing routes. Yeah, so one of the many criticisms of Kirk Campbell is that he has not completely built the offense around Alex Orji and his skill set at this time. He's still trying to keep to what he wants to do, maybe a more JJ McCarthy centric offense. But I do agree with those who say you need to build the game plan around what your players can do well at this time. So as Coach Antoine just told us, Kirk needs to implement more true RPOs and more slant routes. Things that'll make Alex comfortable, things that will make him things that will allow him to feel more able passing the ball and running the offense, as opposed to doing things that we know he will struggle with at this time. Coach Antoine says, we don't need to watch the polls, just keep winning. That's true. That's true. The 2021 team started off unranked, and then they got in, and then they gradually worked their way up to being playoff contenders. Dre Ellerby, thank you for being here. Thank you for stopping through. Everybody, please smash that like button if you haven't. That helps with the engagement, and it helps me out as well. Smedley Butler, he says, I'm going for Washington unless Michigan brings their officials with them. I think that's some smack from the Minnesota game. Okay. There were some questionable calls on both sides. There was the Mason Graham face mask call. TJ Guy's helmet got ripped off. But then also Michigan may have gotten that might have gotten balanced out towards the end with the onside kick offsides call. That was close. Had that gone the other way, we might be having a different conversation right now. But that's sports. Sometimes it comes down to the referee's calls, and then sometimes it comes down to missteps by the coaching staff. Okay, so Wink Martindale, the OG of the defense, he takes a beating every week. I questioned that zero coverage in late in the second half. Okay, I think he should have played more zone. Okay, and then also the clock management. If Sharon Moore or Kirk Campbell had tugged on Alex and said, bleed the clock out, take that play clock down to 5 seconds, the whole ending of the game is different. So it's not just one thing with Team 145. There are multiple things that need to be cleaned up. Okay, so those are the top 25 rankings. Snowman, all right. We have the whole all-star cast is coming through. Please smash that like button if you haven't. Snowman in the media, Snowman Multimedia. Let me get your name right. Snowman Multimedia says, hey, Snowman checking in. All right. Yeah. Okay. So let me get my bearings back. Okay. So I'm not going to be on long. Coach Antoine, you keep letting me know what you think. Smedley Butler, you keep letting me know what you think. Dre, if you're at the gym, so you're probably focused on getting your pumps in, but everybody let me know what you think. All right. So I'm not going to read this verbatim, but right now, as of today, the Washington Huskies are a 3-point favorite over our beloved Maize and Blue, over our beloved Wolverines. So yeah, so they're not picked to win by a large margin, which to me says that these sports these bookies and odds makers, what they're really seeing is that the game could go either way. Washington right now is unranked. They are not in the top 25. Okay. So it's a winnable game. All right. So I did myself, you guys will be proud of me. I did do some scouting myself. So I did take a look at the Washington the Northwestern game. Their last game was against Northwestern, and they're coming off a bye. So they've had quite a bit of time to get ready for us. And then the week before that was the Apple Cup, where Washington State came in. And so what I saw in that Northwestern game, their quarterback, Will Rogers, he's got a strong arm, and they run a lot of play action. So I was watching Johnny's prediction, and he said he gets the ball out quickly. Will Rogers does. Jedd Fisch, we're all familiar with Jedd Fisch here. Jedd Fisch was on Coach Harbaugh's initial staff, and I think he stayed on until the end of the 2016 season because Wilton Speight loved Jedd Fisch, and Wilton Speight eventually followed Jedd Fisch out to UCLA after Wilton transferred from Michigan. Wilton Speight was one of my favorite Michigan quarterbacks. Okay, if he had just had a little bit more pass protection and a better running game, Wilton Speight, yeah, we make the playoff that year. But Jedd Fisch is a brilliant offensive mind, and I did watch the highlights from the Washington Northwestern game. Washington hosted Northwestern. The Will Rogers kid has a strong arm. He threw some deep balls to Denzel Boston, so that's a name you might hear quite a bit on Saturday night. And Giles Jackson is still there. I was watching the highlights and I said, Giles Jackson is still there? He hasn't graduated yet? But Giles Jackson, who was once one of ours, he was there, and Giles Jackson made some plays against Washington State. I'm going to get to that in a second. But, yeah, so Will Rogers has a strong arm. That Coleman kid, he's a strong back. He runs the ball very physically, much like Khalil Mullings. But they use a lot of play action passing. So if Washington, I predict this game is going to be a bit of a chess match. Okay, if Washington can get their running game going, and then they can get their play action passing going, it's going to be a long night for us. But what other teams on our schedule may have picked up from that Minnesota game is that if you run the hurry up, if you run the no huddle against our defense, we don't have the depth this year. You may be able to fatigue and wear out our defense. So look for Washington to also go with the tempo against our defense to try to wear out Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant and the other players there. Coach Antoine, what say you? Let's see. He says, let's see. Coach Antoine says, Wink is greedy, but he's not stupid. Dre says, I think we can beat Washington. They can't stop the run. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I saw when I looked at their defense as well in the Apple Cup. Dre says Rutgers or Northwestern. I thought I saw Northwestern, Dre, before they went on their bye. Dre, you're going to make me look it up. I'm a man of my word, and I try to fact check myself. Dre says their line is small. I think if we stop their run, their quarterback will turn the ball over. Coach Antoine says, Doc, if we implement the true RPO system, all Orgy has to do is read that attacking linebacker. If he goes after the fake, then it's a quick slant route. It's simple. It's a simple read as far as the pass, but Kurt is slow. Yeah. I mean, a major part of all sports is coaching. And if your coaches don't put the players in position to do what they can do or what they need to do, it's a moot point. Antoine says, not worried about Washington. Dre says, Josiah Stewart may have 3 sacks. Antoine says, Michigan fans who don't understand the game and these podcasters who don't understand the game want to worry 24/7. Yeah. So Dre, your point about Josiah Stewart might have 3 sacks. The Will Rogers kid, he's also pretty mobile. Okay, so he'll snap the ball, read the field, but he can also roll out and scramble as well. So I think if they're able to get that running game going and get their play action passing game going, this could be a long night for Wink Martindale's defense. But let's see. So in the Apple Cup versus Washington State, so Dre Ellerby, you're gonna make me look it up, okay? Because I wrote down Washington versus Northwestern, and that was their last game before the bye. Dre, you're gonna make me look it up. Was I seeing stars after my workday? Okay, Washington football schedule, Washington Huskies. I'm in the DMV, so that can also mean the Washington Commanders. Washington Huskies football schedule. Dre Ellerby's fact checking me. Okay, so all right, let me go to their official site. Oh, okay, Dre Ellerby, you got me. You got me. Okay, so that was and they didn't have a bye. They didn't have a bye. Thank you for fact checking me, Dre Ellerby. Okay, so to show that Dre was right, I can admit when I was wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong. Okay. All right, we're gonna wrap this up before my computer starts doing what it does. Yeah, so their last game, close that. So Washington defeated Weber State. They defeated Eastern Michigan. They lost to Washington State 1924. They defeated Northwestern 24-5, and they defeated Rutgers. That was out in Piscataway, New Jersey, 21-18. So this isn't a top 10 team, okay? And so this game right here at Lumen Field, that's what they call it, Lumen Field. The Apple Cup, they lost to the Washington State Cougars 24-19. And I did watch the highlights from that game. Dre Ellerby, thank you again for fact checking me. So I did watch the highlights from that game. Once again, their quarterback, Will Rogers, the third, strong arm. Giles Jackson caught quite a few balls in that game. They have multiple running backs with the Coleman kid. He starts. But what stood out in that game to me, Coach Antoine, you might really enjoy chewing on this one. The John Mateer kid, he was the quarterback from Washington State. He had a really good game against Washington. He had a strong arm, he was accurate, and he was mobile, and he was able to slice up that Washington Huskies defense. I didn't see Washington blitz a lot. They did blitz a few times, but the rest of the time they dropped their guys back in coverage. That doesn't mean they're going to do that against us, because against us, I would suspect that they're going to load the box to try to make Alex Orji show that he can pass the ball. And I think that may be, once again, what factors heavily into the game. Washington State was able to move the ball effectively against the Huskies defense, but we don't have the same offense that Washington State has. So it's going to come down to how creative can Kirk Campbell get? Is he going to maximize what Alex Orji can do? And can we do some other things to complement Khalil Mullings on the ground? Because you have to think that the Washington defensive coordinator he's going to scheme to shut down Khalil Mullings, because he's been our main weapon up to this point. So what else can the Michigan offense do in a hostile environment on its first road game of the season, all of the way out on the West Coast. That's gonna be the thing. Okay. And can our coaches make adjustments? Can they make the necessary adjustments on our first road game of the season out in the Northwest? Coach Antoine says Washington is a quick play slant system. It's akin to the West Coast offense. If you tackle them, they got nothing coming. I don't think they would even try to run that much. It's arena football. Antoine, from what I saw, the Will Rogers kid, he threw some deep balls. He threw the ball down the field. He went vertical quite a bit. So I hear what you're saying, but if he gets time, look for them to try to stretch the field. Okay. And also look to see if they're going to go tempo against us. Coach Antoine says, people think that loading the box is an instant fix, but you got to remember that if you load the box and miss a tackle, it's an even easier time to score. Remember, your safeties are your last line of defense. That's true. But yeah, it's exciting. It's going to be exciting to see how Alex responds and how the offense responds going on the road the first time out to the West Coast. Let's go down memory lane. When I was a student, that was the last ride of Lloyd Carr. So that John Navarre team, I think in its first year, John Navarre's first year starting, the Wolverines went out to Washington. They lost, and then the next year, it was an ugly game. And then the next year, Rich Neuheisel brought his Huskies to the Big House in Michigan, won that game, and then of course, and on the rebuild, the rebound of the program in 2021, the Huskies came in to the Big House and the Wolverines beat them handily. And then, of course, last year we met up with them. We met up with Purple Rain in the Natty, in the national title game. So Michigan has quite a bit of history with the Washington Huskies, and I think there are quite a few matchups when Bo was the head coach. I'm going to read some of your comments here, then I'm going to wind the stream down. Let me close this and this. So again, Washington is picked to win by 3 points, but I think that is saying that the game could go either way, depending upon what happens. Let's see. Coach Antoine says that's why you don't see teams too interested in having a goal line defense, because you're strong up front and weak in the back end. Dre says Rogers will get 280 in the air, but we should win by 10. Okay, that tempo. After seeing Minnesota do that, guys, I have to admit that tempo concerns me. Okay, and defensive players get tired, especially if they're out on the field too long. Okay, so we need two halves like last week's first half. Antoine says he's going to get rid of the ball quick, Doc. Yeah, Johnny did say that, but I saw a lot of play action myself. I saw a lot of play action passing. Antoine says, Purple Rain, Purple Rain. I didn't think you knew about that. Yeah, I was watching Johnny's content leading up to the national championship game, and Johnny destroyed that kid, whoever that was. He had that guy running from his stream. So yeah, Purple Rain, that was funny. Trailer B says, tempo, we did not have Will and Stewart. That's a good point. Will be back for this one. It'll be interesting to see if they put Will on that the Denzel Boston kid, or will they put Will on Giles Jackson? No, I think they'll put him on the Denzel Boston kid, because that's a tall, athletic kid. So let's see who they match Will up on. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I've got. So I will not take a look at the rest of the schedule, because the Wolverines have a big game coming up on Saturday. What do you guys think? You guys think the Wolverines will pull it out? Antoine, Dre, whoever else, you think this will be a W, and the Wolverines will keep marching on? I think the success, our success for the rest of the season, is going to come down to Alex's play and Kirk Campbell's willingness to create game plans for Alex Orji and game plans that will allow him to grow and flourish. I think that's the rest of our season right there. If Kirk Campbell can humble himself and do that, we become a playoff team. But if not, we're just going to sputter along the rest of the way. So let's see what happens. Dre says yes if everyone does their jobs. Coach Antoine, what's your prediction? Okay. Coach Antoine says, Doc, you got to remember also that Wink is trying to get these guys some playing time. So these Michigan fans that are crying about the score need to shut up. I'll give up some inconsequential points for more experience. Okay. Yeah, you know what? That might pay dividends later on in the season in terms of depth. And you never know in football who's going to get injured. So yeah, Wink is taking it on the chin early in this season, but hey, there might be a method to his madness. So I think, you know what, guys, I think, yeah, if the offense can handle the crowd noise, if they can put together some nice long drives and not turn the ball over, that's going to be key. I think Michigan can pull this out. So let's see. As Chris Berman always used to say, that's why they have to play the games. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. So everybody, yeah, Michigan, Washington is predicted to win by 3. But in here, we think Michigan will win. I don't know by how much. I'm not going to predict a score, but I think if Michigan handles its business, we will defeat Purple Rain. All right. So guys, look for a post-game show Saturday night. I'll tough it out and look for a post-game show on Saturday night after the Wolverines face Purple Rain. Dre says, go blue. And now he said, and Coach Antoine finally says, now just think about this. What will Ohio State look like after this time? They don't give anybody minutes unless they're starters, unless they're starters, or is it unless to rest their starters? I don't know what that last clause says there, Coach Antoine. All right, everybody, have a good night. And enjoy the game. It's a 7:30 p.m. kickoff on the East Coast. So I will talk to you shortly there afterwards. Go blue. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're new. Let me do this the right way. Go blue. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Coach Antoine says, in other words, Ohio State will look like crap because they don't give their players playing time. Okay, so you're saying they don't give the young guys playing time. Okay, they're gonna look like crap next year. Okay, yeah, you gotta, in any sport, you gotta get your young guys in, and you gotta get them some time and get them some burn, as they say in the inner city. So, all right, everyone, go blue, and I'll talk to you again soon. Take care.